Good morning. My name is Charlotte Broad-Kern, and I serve on the Board of Trustees here at First Unitarian. Whoever you are, whomever you love, whether you carry joy or sorrow in your heart, you are welcome here. All people of goodwill are warmly invited to join us on the journey of the mind, the heart, and the spirit. If this is your first time with us today, please let the offering basket pass you by. Your presence is gift enough. We hope you will join us for coffee and conversation in the community room after the service. We would love to get to know you and answer any questions you might have. You can also visit the information table next to the exit from the community room. If you are looking for ways to engage with our community and support the work of our congregation, please visit the opportunities table that's in the very back of the community room after the service. There are a variety of activities that would welcome more helping hands. We would love to match you with an opportunity that interests you. Please remember to silence your cell phone and other electronic devices. Leah, did you want to say something now? Okay. Welcome to worship. And at this time, please take a moment to greet the people sitting around you.
Good morning, First Unitarian. Welcome today. Before we sing our welcome song, we want to invite you to a couple events coming up. We have a Blue Christmas service this Thursday evening, December 14th at 6 p.m. All are warmly invited to a contemplative service filled with music. We'll begin the gathering music a good 10 minutes before the service, so please come into this space and find some comfort and solace.
And the other event we want to invite you to is next Wednesday, about 10 or so days from now, on Wednesday, December 20th, we're having our annual Solstice Eve gathering, which will be a potluck starting at 5:30, dinner first, and then some singing here in the sanctuary, followed by a light spiral ritual that will be led by Aaron Kenworthy. That evening will conclude around 8:30. So we do ask that you RSVP, just so we have sort of a head count. If you don't end up RSVPing, it doesn't mean you can't come. It just means come anyway. But do, if you have a moment, the link is in the announcements on the back of your order of service, and there's also a QR code out in the community room if you don't want to type in that really long URL to your web browser. And it's also in First Announce. Would you please join me in singing our song of welcome? Whoever you are, wherever you are welcome here, particularly if this is your first or second time joining us. We are many, we are one, the light of the world is within you. Sacred and worthy is your soul, a place has been made for you. Welcome.
Good morning, my name is Paula, and I will be doing the call to worship and chalice lighting. This is an excerpt from a sermon by Rabbi Lawrence Kushner. A mystic is anyone who has the gnawing suspicion that the apparent discord, brokenness, contradictions, and discontinuities that assault us every day might conceal a hidden unity. Just beneath the apparent surface, everything is joined to everything else. To a mystic, therefore, what we call reality is but a myriad of refractions of that ultimate underlying unity. It is a oneness in which all things, even and especially the self-consciousness of the mystic, are intermittently dissolved. Now only the one remains. Or in Yiddish, alles ist Gott. Everything is God.
Good morning. Would you please do some singing with me? Would you rise in body or spirit or both and join me in singing out of the gray hymnal, number 389, Gathered Here. This morning we're going to do this as a round. So we'll start by just singing the final line, Spirit Draw Near, a handful of times. And then Charlotte will go on and sing, and I'll join a little bit later. And you're welcome to sing with either of us. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Spirit, draw near. Here we go.
Gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour, Spirit, draw strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. Strong body, gathered here in the mystery of the hour. Gathered here in one strong body, gathered here in the struggle and the power. Spirit, draw near. 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 Spirit, draw near.
Good morning. I'm Erin Kenworthy, your Director of Religious Exploration. If you're young or young at heart, we're going to have a quick conversation up here before we go downstairs, so come on over. While they are coming, I'm just going to remind folks that next week we have a multi-generational service here in the sanctuary on Sunday morning. We'll be doing our No Rehearse pageant. And right now, it's a mystery about who is going to have what role, because we don't assign it until the morning of. It's very exciting. We hope that you join us. All right, my friends down here. So I have a question. I wonder if you have ever seen a magic show. Have you? You saw a magic show at a friend's birthday party. Yeah? Amazing. Have you seen one? You've seen one at your aftercare program. Yes? Yeah. Has anybody out there ever seen a magic show? Whoa, cool. All right, some people have. If you haven't, I'm sure you can go and find one that you can watch online, right? Yeah. So magic show, this is when people do things that don't seem to make any sense. Yeah? That's kind of the idea behind magic, is that it's mysterious. Maybe we don't know how it works. So my wondering is, when you see a magic trick, are you the kind of person who wants to know how it was done? Or are you the kind of person that does not want to know, that just wants to be amazed by the magic? Where are my people who want to know how that trick was done? There we are. All right, where are my people who are like, just that's amazing and I don't really want to know how it happened? Cool. Both of those are fine responses to seeing something mysterious. Yeah? One of the things that I think happens in our lives is we experience things, or we meet people, or we see something and we go, that is a mystery. We might have a big question about something. Our big why questions. Why are we here? Why do we love other people? These can all be really mysterious questions for us. And when you have folks around you who are willing to engage with mystery, whether they want to know how it happens or they just want to be amazed by it, we can ask those questions together when we're in a community like the one that we have here. The last thing I want to share with you about mystery for today up here is that some of the things that we find to be incredibly mysterious, other people do not have the same wondering that we do. And some of the things that we feel very certain about are incredibly mysterious to other people. So I just wanted to lift that up, that what we see as mysterious isn't always exactly the same as the person next to us when we're at school or when we're on the bus. Sound good? All right, I'm not doing any magic tricks today because that is not a thing that I'm good at. But I am so glad that you are here with us this morning and that we can ask questions together. And we're going to do that a little bit downstairs today. Please join me in singing our children out to their programming this morning.
Now can you hear me? Yes. Today I'm going to talk about a really important topic, friends. I've been sort of under the weather for a couple of weeks, and I wouldn't have made it without my friends. They stopped by with my favorite ice cream and things like that. But how do you make friends? I mean, and what better place to find someone who could be a friend than here? People who share our same values. And there are many ways to get to know people better than a hi in coffee hour. And one of them is joining a core group. Another is volunteering. I have made so many friends volunteering, being on this committee, and talking about all sorts of things and getting to know them, and realize I want to know more. So I invite you all to say, do I want to get closer to this community? And if so, choose something that will allow you to get to know them better than hi at coffee hour. And the reason we all want friends is because they hold us up. And there is no better place to find a community of friends than here in this community. So, I'm asking you to cough up some dough, and we're having the offering, I think. Yes? And we take anything. Well, You know, do you remember S&H green stamps? We don't take those anymore. I invite you to be generous. Thank you.
Look to the heavens on a moonless night and marvel at a universe spangled with light. Stars without number from a seed did grow. Who planted that seed we never may know. Galaxies whirl and electrons spin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Life is an architect strong and wise. It tamed this marble of fire and ice. Down through the eons with a tireless thirst, ever striving to craft a heaven of earth. A resolute spark where a shadow had been. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. There are corners of the world that are pulled so taut, the heat of the planet comes steaming out. Keep your heart warm when its shell gets soft. You can tug on the crust till the armor peels off. See where the surface is thin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. There is spirit in the marrow of every last thing. Even the stones have songs to sing. Whispering a story of the other side, where the roots of the tree of consciousness hide. It's hard to make out for the clatter and din. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. We see no hammer, but the bell still chimes, ringing out in rhythm to the end of time. Ripples in the water where no wind has blown, the work of a hand that can never be shown. Hold it in your heart when your hope grows dim. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin. Flesh and bone beneath the skin.
Your gifts freely given this morning are gratefully received. Thank you for your contributions, your generosity, your support of the larger ministry of First Unitarian Denver. Thank you. I want to just take one brief moment and hold up one of our many volunteers that makes First Unitarian happen. Today I'd like to hold up Karen Ray, who doesn't know this is going to happen. But Karen, for 8 or 9 years, something like that, with the exception of a couple of COVID years, has organized a Christmas Day potluck here at First Unitarian. So if that's something you're interested in, please see Karen. And I've actually never been to one because I'm usually busy, but I understand they're absolutely marvelous, and a good time and good food are had by all. Thanks, Karen. I want to hold up a couple of things at this moment. One, I want to hold up our very own Arnie Carter, who is here in the back somewhere. Yes, Arnie was arrested last Sunday for, for participating in a civil disobedience with the Jewish youth in Denver, calling for an immediate ceasefire in Palestine and Israel. Arnie refers to himself as an old geezer. I also understand, when you're arrested, there are legal fees, and I understand there is a legal defense fund being collected to help Arnie deal with this. So, the other thing I want to hold up is that I am aware we have some members in our congregation who have lost jobs recently. We have some members who are in between jobs, and we have others who are living paycheck to paycheck with very little or no real security. And if that's you, I just want to give you a shout out this morning. And I want to remind you emphatically that this is your church, and you are welcome here, and you belong here. And not only that, your church can help with paying some bills or grocery cards or other kind of confidential assistance, but I cannot read minds. So if that is you, catch me after the service, send me an email, leave me a message. There is a minister's discretionary fund here at First Unitarian Denver. It exists for exactly this purpose, which is to help out our members and friends who are in financial need. For a prayer today, I want to share the words of Dr. Glenn Thomas Rideout. And this will be very much in line and sort of setting up the sermon I'm going to do in a few minutes. Dr. Rideout wrote this: God is no noun, and certainly not an adjective. God is at least a verb, and even that shrinks her. God is not so much a woman as she resides in the improbable hope of brown mothers. God is not so much a man as he is at work in the memory of my grandfather's laugh. God is not trans. God swims in the tears of the one who sees her real self at long last in the bathroom mirror. God is not black, neither is he white. God is waiting in the contradiction of songs from slave shacks. And I have seen God in the alabaster smiles of children at play. We're getting Michelangelo all wrong. God is not the bearded one surrounded by angels floating over the Sistine. God is not Adam with his muscled back pressing the earth. No, God is the closing inch of space between their reaching fingers. Don't believe for a moment that God is Catholic. For God's sake, he isn't even human. Have you heard the wood thrush when the sun glistens the Huron? Have you seen the flowers, how they speak to the bees without a word? Still, God is no spring blossom, no wood thrush. God is neither the sun nor the bee. God is what you see in the blossom. God is when you hear the river and suddenly discover how much of it is part of you. To be clear, God is not you. God is somewhere in the 14 billion years which have come to mean that you are.
God is, after all, at least a verb. She is neither Pharaoh's rod nor Moses' staff. We must be the ones to cease our slavery. She is not interested in blame, neither does she offer praise. Truth and gratitude are ours to breathe. She will not have your answers. She's too large for answers. She dances too wildly to be fastened to them, and answers are nouns anyway. God is at least a verb, twirling in the radiant reds of spring blossoms, singing in the rare silences between rapid opinions, attending the tears of dark-skinned deaths, learning in tiny alabaster smiles. God is waiting in the space between fingers that might connect. He is waiting for us to stop naming her. She is waiting for us to see all of him. God is waiting to be unshrunk. Amen. Thank you, Charlotte. Do we have any self-identified mystics here today? Like besides me? A few here and there? We might have a few more in a little while. We're going to be looking at mysticism this morning, which is patently absurd. Because by definition, mystic knowledge is hidden beyond the veil of our normal perceptions, beyond words to describe. And it is part of the paradox and fun of mysticism that some of the most beautiful of all spiritual literature is mystic in nature. Think St. Therese of Avila, St. John of the Cross, Hildegard von Bingen, Jalaluddin Rumi, Lao Tzu, Hafiz, Basho, even Jesus was arguably a mystic. So to be clear, a mystic, like Paula spoke earlier in the call to worship, is anyone who has the gnawing suspicion that all the apparent discord and brokenness and contradictions and discontinuities that assault us every day might conceal a hidden unity. Just beneath the apparent surface, everything is joined to everything else. Dictionary.com says a mystic is a person who claims to attain or believes in the possibility of attaining insight into mysteries that transcend ordinary human knowledge, as by direct communication with the divine or immediate intuition. So I'm going to share a short bit from my favorite book on Jewish mysticism. This is called Honey from the Rock by Lawrence Kushner. The first mystery is simply that there is a mystery. A mystery that can never be explained or understood, only encountered from time to time. Nothing is obvious. Everything conceals something else. The Hebrew word for universe, olam, comes from the word for hidden. Something of the Holy One is hidden within. There's more to reality than meets the eye. The everyday world is an illusion. It is real only in the way a dream is real. We see it and hear it, and indeed we live in it. We stake our lives on it, and in an instant, it's gone. A little later, he gives an example. He says, imagine you're watching television. You turn the volume down till the actor's lips are moving without making a sound. You turn the contrast down until the action is almost lost in a ghostly outline. You turn the brightness down until the screen is blank. You see nothing, you hear nothing, but something's there. Someone is speaking and looking, only you can't see them. From a space beyond, a message is issued. A reality that cannot be seen or heard or understood, but nonetheless, something is going on there. By the way, I have spoken about mysticism many times here at First Unitarian, and I frequently get one of two responses. Someone will come up afterwards and go, wow, I've been a mystic my whole life and I didn't know it. And the other response I sometimes get is, well, that was weird. I don't have a clue what you're talking about. Both answers are perfectly fine. Mystics and mysticism are not popular in traditional religious practices, and that's largely because mystics tend to believe that the heart and soul of spirituality is in each single individual body and soul, communing directly with the divine. No intermediary, no liturgy, no scripture, no creed required. I'm going to introduce some concepts of mysticism this morning, and If it's not clear by now, I'll just say it clearly. You're warned hereby that the best I can do is give you some vague instructions on how and where that you might catch your glimpse beyond the veil. Because as any mystic will tell you, talking about mysticism is not mysticism. So, the initiate to, as far as I know, every mystic tradition usually begins by listening to and meditating on stories. I'm going to share my absolute favorite teaching story. And those of you who know me well, you know that this particular story has been with me for it's been a part of my life for probably 30 years or so. Once there was a female tiger, very pregnant and delirious with hunger. She comes across a small herd of goats and pounces on them with such desperation that she brings about the birth of her little one without getting any goats. The baby is fine, but the birth taxes her last strength, and she dies. The goats have all scattered, but when they come back to their grazing place, they find this just-born tiger and its dead mother. The goats have parental instincts, and so they adopt the tiger, and it grows up thinking it's a goat. It learns how to bleat. It learns to eat grass. But since grass doesn't nourish it very well, it becomes a rather scrawny and sickly tiger. One day, when the tiger is an adolescent, another tiger comes by, an adult tiger, and pounces on the flock of goats, and once again the goats scatter, but the scrawny tiger doesn't have the scattering instinct, and so it just stands there. The big one looks at her in amazement and says, "What are you doing living with these goats?" But all the little one can say is, "Ma." Well, the old tiger is mortified. Just swats the little one back and forth a few times, but the little thing just responds with these pathetic little bleats and begins nibbling on some grass in embarrassment. The big tiger takes her by the scruff of the neck, brings her to a pond and shows her her reflection. Look, see? You got a face like mine. You're a tiger. Start acting like one. But the little one doesn't feel like a tiger. Doesn't even really know what a tiger is. Still feels like a goat, and frankly, that image in the water is kind of intimidating. Not knowing what to do, she takes a drink at the pond and starts looking around for some grass to eat. Well, the big tiger has had enough. Takes her by the scruff of the neck, brings her back to the tiger's den, and gives her some raw meat to eat. Well, the little one just like gags on this stuff. But something else has happened. Something else happens too. Suddenly she feels something inside her begin to stir, something she's never felt before. She's kind of thoroughly repulsed by this meat and yet strangely drawn in at the same time. And even gagging on the meat, nonetheless, she's getting it into her blood, getting it into her system, getting it into her nerves. It's her proper food, and it touches something in her deeper nature. Sitting back a moment, she licks her lips and breaks into a spontaneous tiger stretch. Her first one. She's not sure what the heck she is right now, but the veil has been broken, and there's no going back. So that story is from the Hindu tradition. And the moral, of course, is that we're all really tigers. We've just been convinced that we're goats. We go about our lives generally blind to the deeper reality and not really aware of who we really are. Even looking in the mirror doesn't help because that's just a reflection of reality. It's not the thing itself. So we're going to unpack that story a little bit more. Actually, I've been unpacking that story for 30 years. We're going to unpack that story a little more. But the central mystic message, if you will, is that the experience of ultimate truth is something that takes place deep inside the heart and the soul, sometimes driven by a deep, usually conflicted longing for communion with the all-pervading spirit of the divine, but just as often, as with this particular tiger, forced upon you. You go along about your business and like, ouch, the truth hits you in the face. Do you allow it to change your life? Or do you just pick yourself up and keep going like it never happened? The great Sufi poet, Rumi. One night a man was crying out, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with the praising. Until a cynic said, so I have heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response? The man had no answer to that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Kadir, the guide of souls in a thick green foliage. Why did you stop praising? Because I never heard anything back. The longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. The whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. Reverend Jacob Trapp, who was once minister of this congregation, wrote, the word mystic comes from the Greek verb meaning to close or shut. It has connotations of the sealed lips of silence. The full meaning of mysticism, however, includes the lips of silence breaking apart for the response of the rapturous, ah, and the closed eyes opening to fresh and keener perceptiveness. So a mystic experience is that rare, precious realization of that which always is, but of which we're hardly ever aware. The spiritual truth that all of our perceived aloneness, all of our perceived separateness is itself an illusion. Meister Eckhart wrote, God is always ready. We are not ready. God is near to us, but we are far from God. God is at home. We are abroad. So mystics use teaching stories like that tiger because it highlights the mystic's dilemma. Not to put too fine a point on it, but if you become aware of your tiger nature, how do you go on living among all these goats? If you live with awareness of the glory of divine light shining through your soul, can you stay present to that while, in the self-checkout line at King Soopers? The story teaches the mystic tradition in several other ways. Notice that nothing would have happened without the appearance of a mentor. Mystic knowledge is thought to be kind of dangerous. And many traditions believe guidance is necessary to navigate such knowledge without losing your mind. Notice also the story ends with the tiger facing a social, physical, and a spiritual dilemma. Learning how to live like a real tiger will be an enormously difficult and life-threatening task. To claim her tiger identity, her previous self will have to die in a complete spiritual transformation. But the cost of trying to go back to being a goat is also extraordinary. Will likely cost her very soul. Having tasted her true nature, to reject it would mean an entire life of being a fairly pathetic creature. Forever regretful, lonely, unfulfilled. How many of us have felt a similar feeling at times? One of the messages of the story, right, is just how easy it is to fall into the world of illusion, and how deep is our need to belong. How seamless our capacity for denial. Even our own minds can work against us, and the story shows that too. If you come to believe something is true, say for instance that human beings are the epitome of creation, or that being a goat is our true nature, or that guns actually solve problems, you will be automatically preconditioned to see evidence that supports your belief everywhere you look. And I'm going to digress on that point a little bit because it's just that important. And it plays directly into what I want to show or hope to show about mysticism. Your beliefs about stuff shapes your reality. I'm going to give you a couple examples. If you believe the world is a cold, hard, unforgiving place, you will see evidence to support that conclusion everywhere you look. Everywhere. Amen? And you will very likely just miss opportunities for goodness and love and connection, even when they happen right in front of you, because that's not what your mind is conditioned to see. On the other hand, right, if you believe the world is a mysterious, miraculous place of possibility and wonder, I promise you, you will see evidence to support that conclusion, and you'll see it everywhere you look. I just about guarantee you will also experience greater success in your life and more happiness and greater satisfaction with everything that happens to you, even if what happens to you is initially painful. Because your belief will condition you to find the good in it. Amen? If you are someone who believes you are deserving of love and intimacy in this world, you will most likely gravitate towards emotionally healthy people who can enter into that and sustain that kind of a relationship. If you are someone who deep down does not really believe you are worthy of love and intimacy, you will most likely gravitate towards people who are wounded or closed or inconsistent or otherwise selfish, who in all likelihood will in fact live out your deepest fears. I don't want to be too simplistic, but this, I believe, is a great spiritual truth. To a much greater extent than we commonly acknowledge, what we experience is mostly what we expect to experience. Mysticism tries to see beyond all that. So it's a valid question. If mystic reality, ultimate reality, is hidden, what exactly are we looking for? How would we know it if we stumbled upon it? Mystics say that our basic problem is that we live in compartments when the divine is a unity. We see good and evil, light and dark, breathing in and breathing out. Our minds struggle to grasp how breathing in and breathing out can be the same, how light and dark and good and evil, right and wrong, life and death can be anything other than opposites. But mystics teach that to God, all of those observations and distinctions and separation are just simplistic and one-dimensional. God sees the good within the evil and the evil within the good. Or as the Old Testament says, for the light and the darkness are one. And you could argue that making these distinctions and thinking in these distinctions and seeing these distinctions and opposites are just natural and necessary. But mysticism would also teach us, and mysticism would have us come to understand that our limitations are also illusions. And God knows that that which dies and that which lives, these are only fleeting perceptions, a surface reflection of a deeper, more glorious, pervading life where everything carries its own opposite within it. To quote Rumi again, I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on doors. The door opens. I've been knocking from the inside. So mystics say that the doorway to this hidden knowledge, the glimpse, your glimpse beyond the veil, is already in your own deepest experience. Have you ever just laughed out loud at the sheer absurdity of life? Have you ever just had a moment where you're just overwhelmed with gratitude? Where even your bones and the spaces between your cells just resonate for a second with the knowledge that every moment of your life has been an incredible gift? Have you ever had your breath just taken away by a sudden strange certainty that everything you see and everything you are and everything that has been or ever will be are only the myriad refractions of a larger unity? Have you ever been just stopped? Just stopped, momentarily speechless by the sheer beauty of a sunset or a forest or a beach or a mountain or moonlight? If you answered yes to any of those questions, maybe those moments were your own taste of raw meat. I'm not kidding. Maybe those moments were your own glimpses into your own truest nature. Did you allow those moments to change your life, or did you just pick up and go on as if nothing ever happened? I think the goal of a spiritual life is to cultivate the knowledge that we are privileged to in those moments and other moments. Cultivate that awareness. Live our way into the possibilities of those truths. Grow our understanding that behind all our differences and beneath all our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one and binds us forever together in spite of time and death and the space between the stars. Thank you.
We'll sing those words in just a moment, but before we do, would you please join me in singing out of the gray hymnal, Spirit of Life, number 123. I invite you to rise in body, particularly in spirit this morning. We're going to sing this just a little differently than we have in the past. We're going to sing it once through on the words, and then we're going to sing it a second time through, and I invite you to just hum that second time through as a spirit of embodiment and meditation on this text, and in response to the words we just heard from Reverend Mike. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Join me in humming. Please join me in singing our closing affirmation. Behind all our differences and beneath our diversity, there is a unity that makes us one, binds us forever together throughout all time, through life and death, and the space between the stars, throughout all time, through life and death, and the space between the stars.
Friends, be humble, for you are made of the earth. Friends, be noble, for you were born of the stars. And friends, be kind, for you belong to each other. Amen. Our service is ended.